Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to this fourth week in the 6 weeks to energy program. And we're going to talk today about 5 actions to dig deep and find new energy. Great that you're here. Thanks for joining. So let's have a quick look at the agenda and then we launch in, shall we? So we'll do a quick recap of the last 3 weeks already and the summertime that you are having. We'll zoom in on digging deeper and why that is important. We'll look at 5 actions that you can actually take in order to start dig deeper and get new results, new energy that you can carry forward in the rest of the year. And we'll start thinking about what's in it really for you. Why is this important? And then we'll talk about next steps. All right, so let's start. So as a quick recap, we've talked about it as well last week. After a busy start of the year, it's time to take a longer break with family, go on a vacation, take some distance, get some new perspective, rest a bit, and de-stress. It's all great things to do with family, friends, or on your own if that's your way to recharge. But it's also important to realize that doing little to nothing or spending time on another location or with other people, yes, it allows you to rest a bit, but maybe you end up still disappointed as well and not with more energy. Because sometimes it helps to actually start doing a bit more and more work on yourself so that you can rediscover how you can thrive in the remaining year and realize new opportunities. So you get more inner energy, feel less stress, and feel more motivated for the rest of the year. This is exactly what the 6 weeks to energy is all about. Figuring out how you can work a bit more on yourself to get more energy. In the first week, we talked about that more energy, you can try to find it outside of yourself on the what you're busy with. But really, it is about focusing on your inner side, your inner energy. So who you truly are, why you do what you do, and how you function. So it's really about the thoughts and beliefs, mindsets, and consciousness that underlie our thinking. That is important. So in order to do that, we can uncover our true goal, develop your personal vision, and listen to your inner voice. In week 2, we started thinking about reflection. How you can help and engage your sparring partner to help you really accelerate and make your thinking more effective. Because it is sometimes very hard to see beyond your own limited perspective to improve and to really see your blind spots. So by uncovering your blind spots, you can actually maximize your true potential and really feel what you want to achieve. So having a sparring partner can actually help in your reflection time. Last time we said, okay, but let's say you're reflecting with a sparring partner, then in order to get to new actions, it's important that you start thinking about what your new thinking is, get a new perspective. And therefore, working on your mindset is critical. And working on your mindset, there's 4 actions that are suggested that you can take. First, by making your actions a bit bolder, making them transformative. So not only do the things that you know already or that you've done already before, make them bigger. Secondly, get a new perspective by tackling problems in a different way so that you actually get different results. Because if you do the same things, you'll get the same results. Reframing your mindset, basically your ability to zoom out and become more aware. So it's only when you're able to look at your life from a bit of a distance, then you become more aware and you can actually look at your mindset in as much as possible in an objective way so that you can start changing it as well. And today we'll dive deeper in going deeper. So digging into your fundamental strengths, beliefs, and values, because when you dig deep, then that's where you can unearth new energy. If you stay on the surface, you'll probably end up doing more or less what you've done this far. So digging deeper is today. We also quickly talked about last time about energy leadership. So that we've got two energies. So one hand side, we've got anabolic energy, which is a constructive and building up force. We want more of that because it helps us create solutions, creativity, develop our consciousness. And on the other side, you have catabolic energy. It's an energy that really draws you down, that feels like draining, frustrated. You feel angry, and maybe you feel that you're only focusing on yourself because you cannot get your mind to focus on others. So we've got 7 levels of energy. So the first two bottom ones are victim and conflict, they're catabolic, and the other ones are anabolic, so they're increasing your. Ultimately, what we want is raising our consciousness of energy levels so that we become more aware in the moment of our energy levels, which then gives you a choice of which level is most productive or most anabolic. Once you do, you can create a future that actually you desire. And if you're becoming more aware, you can actually figure out a way on how you'd like to live your life. And if you're not conscious, then life just passes by, and you're not able to intervene in your life and make a difference. So there's plenty more further reading. The book I can definitely recommend by Bruce Schneider, who has written a book on energy leadership, which is also the basis of the training program, coaching training program that I followed. So let's start thinking about digging deep. So let's say you're cruising along nicely, and you're having fun, but you know as well that you can do better. There's this lingering feeling that there's something else that you want or something more that you want. For example, a new job, start your own business, spend more time with family, or focus more, be less distracted. Whatever it is, you need to figure out a way and you need to dig deeper to find what you really, really want. So, in order to continue cruising, but then at a higher speed and a new destination, let's figure out a way how we can dig deep. So, what is that digging deeper actually? So, last week we talked about on the right hand side the picture that all the actions that you take, they're really pushed and triggered by your feelings. And those feelings, they are conscious. So for example, when you're angry, you may act in an angry way, and you will definitely notice it. Or they're unconscious. You may be acting in a certain way, even though you don't fully understand why you do, but you feel that there is an emotional link to that. And your feelings are triggered by your thinking. Your thinking is triggered by your deeper values, and your values are based on your fundamental beliefs in life. So when we say digging deeper, it's actually going down this picture and uncovering and unearthing and making explicit your beliefs, your values, and we'll probably visit that when we're in a coaching relationship. We'll visit that maybe once or twice, and then your thinking, feeling, and actions. That's something that we'll in each and every conversation talk about. So energy comes from acting on things that you really want to experience and have been postponing. So there is something underlying a deeper feeling or a deeper thought where you think, I know that there is something there that I really want to do, but I haven't done it yet, or I have postponed it. So I feel that my energy is not top notch. So to get that additional energy, you need to go in and find it and dig deep. And when you dig deep, you start figuring out ways where you can act in alignment with your true desires, what you really, really want. which is your feelings, your thoughts, or your deeper values or beliefs. So you develop this intrinsic motivation and energy, which makes you more productive and engages you more. So therefore, your actions, if you consciously, if you're aware of the various levels, um, if you're aware of those levels and you're more conscious about your depth of thinking and depth of feeling, then your actions actually are not going to be shallow, but they're going to be deep. And when they're deep, they're true to yourself and therefore also more likely to get you to new results. So, in order to exercise yourself, in order to start thinking deeper and find that true thing that drives you, important thing first is raising your awareness. So, the first action you can do is raise your awareness, as we said, because without awareness, you are unable to realize where you are in this pyramid. So you do not know whether an action you're taking it because it's the right thing to do and you're fully aligned, or whether you're taking the action because an unconscious trigger, feeling, or thought that you haven't unearthed yet. So actually raising your awareness is the first step to gain a better understanding what is really, really on your mind. That is your real motivation, or maybe there's something blocking your contribution, or uh, maybe you actually want something totally different than what you're currently doing, but you're not daring to take action on it. And so developing that awareness, that it's a meta skill, which can propel you to a different performance level. And a meta skill is about, it's almost like a skill for your skills. So if you're able to master developing awareness, then you can control any other skill that you would like to grow. You cannot grow a skill without being unaware. Then you're learning something accident, which is not a very smart strategy. So the quote underneath on the page, it's actually quite a nice one for awareness. So your level of awareness creates the perceptions that you have. And those perceptions, they create the world that you know. So if you want to create a new world, then you need to change your perceptions of things, your experiences, and you need deeper awareness to do that. So welcome if you have joined. We're just done with the fifth action, and we'll move on with the second action that you can take in order to start digging deeper. The second one is empowering yourself. So empowering this is one of those words that everybody uses also quite a lot. But really, it is about believing that you can make a difference in your life. Life doesn't happen automatically, or life is not done for you. You can influence it because each moment that you're in describes who you are. And at that moment, you can also have the opportunity to decide if that's who you want to be and whether that's what you want to do and what you're doing. So at each moment in time, you have an opportunity to actually change course. And believing in yourself can actually also be trained. Like awareness, you can train your awareness. Um, and you can also train your belief in yourself. Being aware helps because then you can really figure out, oh, I'm actually, you can realize that I have some trouble believing in myself. If you're already able to say that about yourself, then you're already, one way down, one step further than many, many people. So that's what awareness is about your own beliefs as well. And secondly, just start. Just take a small action towards your goal, which builds your confidence along the way. Because if you wait, and expect things to build up, or expect things to emerge, or you expect things to that other people will help you, is not likely going to happen. And in my own life, and also setting up my own business, I've been many times in this situation where I've waited too long because you're not sure about actually is it the right thing to do. There's so many things out there that can actually influence the outcomes that you're after. But the only thing that you can influence is taking a small action yourself and see then what happens. And you'll learn alongside the way. So having a bit of an adventurous spirit, or trying to be curious, definitely helps in taking that first step and then say, hey, oh, what? Let's see who shows up, or let's see what's going to happen, or what other people say, or let's see what it does to my own feelings and thoughts. So having that awareness alongside is always important. So secondly, believe in yourself, because each moment you can decide who you want to be. The third one is dare to be you. And in this world where we've got social media being very important, it is very easy to say, to look at others and say, oh, that's who I want to be. And on the one hand side, that is great because you've got some fantastic examples. It's also very easy to see what others are doing that make them successful, and what others are doing where you think, that's not going to work. But at the same time, it's also a big pitfall to only copy uh, what others are doing or trying to do. Also, because when on the surface you see that things look very nice and tidy, you do not know what this person has got going on in his or her life. Maybe they're working hours and hours to get um, a social media post or an article or a nice video up and running, but you do not see that work. You only see the outcome. So actually, it may distort your own picture of what is needed in order to get there. And also, you cannot be the other person because you are different. So it's important that you dare to add your own personal edge, or your own unique perspective, which gives you that strength and creativity because that's you. You do not have to think, oh, what would that other person do, or what would that other person think? No, you only have to look at yourself and say, hey, how would I tackle this? Where are my strengths? How can I use those strengths and be creative and get something new out of there? So care less of what others think of your actions. Learn from them, definitely, because there's some great content and experiences out there. But don't let that block your actions. If these block your actions, then maybe you're not moving at all, and you'll continue cruising on this road that you currently are on. And we'll talk about blocks and actions and obstacles next week a bit more. So don't be a copycat. Don't copy others. Dare to just be you. Be unique, show your personal edge, and just crack on with a small step and see where it brings you. So the fourth step, um, in moving forward, to dig deeper, is be coachable. So coachability, it's a concept that I didn't know myself either until I encountered it about 3 4 months ago. But it is a very strong one, because often people think, or people say, oh yeah, 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 I take on board feedback, and I definitely listen on everything that is going on. But to what extent are they really doing that, and are they really open to learning and listening? It's often easy when somebody criticizes you or tries to give you some piece of advice that you say, oh yeah, 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 I know that. Just by saying that small thing, which doesn't sound too harmful, you say, "Oh yeah, I know it already." Basically, you're dismissing the feedback that that person is giving you, and you're actually closing off the conversation and potentially um, getting additional insights that actually could be very useful. So, blocking a conversation or dismissing something or not being focused and not concentrating to feedback that you receive are often very much unconscious activities that happen and things that you can say and do that can actually stop you from learning. And when you're not open to learn and to listen, to really focus on what this person is saying and be open for, even if you think it's a stupid thing that the other person will say, just still be listening and still hear to what the other person has to say. Or, on social media, what people write, really try to look at it and reflect on it objectively. Try to take a distance, don't judge it immediately, and figure out whether a change of course is needed. And that changing of courses is of course tough because that basically says, okay, there's something that I missed, or that you didn't do well enough, or that you haven't thought about. Um, so to some extent, you always have to admit that something you're currently doing needs to be changed. And that is a tough process, which requires objective reflection. And it also requires you to put your ego at the side. So developing that coachability, to be open to learning and listening, is also a skill. So like growing awareness, it is a skill. Um, and how can you do that? It is just actually go and look for it. So seeking regular feedback from others and responding in an open manner instead of closing it. Close close off the conversation or say, "Hey, I've done it. I've seen that already. I know about it already." But instead, try to understand it and show appreciation. Thanks very much. Okay, now let me think about that. So that's already a bit more open. And then reflect on whether the feedback actually has merit and how to use it to grow. You don't need to do that on the spot. You can ask for time and then figure out one or two things, new learnings that you can put into action, and or an idea that you can put to good use with a small step. So be coachable. And the last one, and I see I haven't changed the title on these slides. So the fifth of those actions that you can uh, use in order to start digging deeper is choose the role that you want to play. So based on the feedback that you're receiving and based on your personal edge that you want to show, you just know that everybody has different motivation, ambition, abilities, and everybody will choose their own road to travel, and you will have to do so as well. And when you choose, make sure it is in alignment with your true motivation and desires. So, not just staying at the surface, staying very shallow, but going deeper, deeper to being aware of your deeper emotions, your thoughts, your values, and beliefs. When you're in touch with those, then whatever you do is going to be much stronger because they're fully aligned with your true motivation and desires. And that's, as we discussed last week, it's not an easy process to get there. Sometimes you need another person to help you with that. And it's conscious then as well that it's important then that you can also choose the type of role that you want to play. And in some situations, it's okay to play a passive role, taking a back seat, not actively creating something new. And you prefer to look at others do their thing, and you're observing, which is fine. You can also, and although I think you will not choose this one very easily, consciously yourself, being a cynic, yes, you're also standing at the sideline, but you're speaking your voice very critically and critically in a non-constructive manner because you will express your cynicism. Often people that express the cynicism, they don't do so consciously. They do it from an emotional perspective or an ability to be able to speak, an inability to speak in a different way. So I hope that if you choose one of those roles, then it's not the cynic role. Another one you can choose is a conformist role. So following a group of more proactive and forward-thinking leaders. There's always going to be people where you think, oh, okay, bloody hell, those guys are so good. They're so moving forward. They've got great insights, um, and you can, or in your organization or your team, you will always have a few people that just are always on and always going, and it's okay to follow that group and figure out a way how you can contribute in a conformist way. That's okay. So sometimes being a passive or sometimes participating but following others is great. In other roles, you want to take a more leading role because you think, hey, this is really my thing. This is where my strengths really are. This is where I can show people, um, you know, uh, how we can do this better, or how we can get the results, or how we can get that new client or customer, or how we can make this organization more effective or efficient, or how to organize this initiative. So you can take a leading role and be the star of the show there. Now, again, being the star of the show doesn't mean that you're not taking your own track. Doesn't mean that you really take importance of what others are thinking and feeling, as we discussed on the previous page. You still want to have your own edge and your own personality shine through, uh, and that's the strength that you have in order to take leading role. Or the last role is, okay, you're more like a pragmatist. Depending on the situation, I will choose one way versus another. um, but the important thing is that to do that consciously, to do that aware. Because when you do that aware, you know why you're actually having a role or end up in a role um, that you're taking at that moment. So depending on the situation, choosing which role you take is critical. So that was the fifth role, or the fifth step that you can take. So to dig in, I think one great exercise that you can actually do is, and to start really going down the depth, into the depth of your thoughts and your feelings, really down to your values and your beliefs, is an exercise which is called "What is really in it for you?" And when you're really cruising along, but you do feel that you have you're looking for something else, but you don't really know what. I think this is an exercise where you can start really digging in a bit. So ask yourself the following four questions in this order, um, and then see what your next step is. So the questions are: what do you really want? And then take a moment to brainstorm and list a few things that you really, really want for your particular situation, or this time in your life. And then once you've defined what you really want, or maybe you scribble down what your gut feel is at this moment, what you should be wanting, then ask yourself the following three questions. How well is it what you're how excuse me, how well is what you're doing getting you what you really want? So how well is what you're currently doing getting you what you really want? What is your current approach really costing you? to get what you really want. And if there were another way to get you the benefits of what you're looking for with much less cost, how interested would you be in learning it? So, by answering these four questions, or by reflecting with the last three questions on what you really want, you can unearth whether you are currently on the right track or whether you need to start taking a different course of action. So, what is your next step? So, as a quick summary and next steps, um, there's 5 actions that you can take, as we discussed, to dig deeper. Firstly, as many times, raise your awareness. Be more conscious about all the activities that you do and why you do them. So, what are your emotions that trigger your action? What are the thoughts that you have behind it? And how does that fit within your overall life? Then believe in yourself and empower yourself. You have everything in you already in order to take that next step. So believe in yourself and dare to be you. Be unique, be creative, be yourself. It's nice to look at others and use them as an example, but don't let that example block you from taking action yourself and showing others who you truly are yourself. Then be open to feedback and learning. So be coachable. Once you're coachable, then you're able to learn in an open way from all the information and feedback and insights that you've got going on. And fifthly, choose the role that you want to play. Do you want to be standing at the sidelines and listen? Do you want to play a leading role? Do you want to switch this around depending on various situations as a pragmatist? It's all right, as long as you make these decisions in an aware way where you believe in yourself, where you're acting, where you are showing up totally yourself, and where you've taken on board and where you continuously take on board feedback and input. Because when you do so, then you've actually dug deeper. You dug deeper into what it is, what your true potential is. And when you act according to your true potential and you increase your energy, then you can actually get to totally different results and cruise on a higher speed to a new destination. Now, next week, we're going to talk about overcoming obstacles because, all of this, it requires lots of thinking, hard reflection, a bit of introspection, and it requires often, some support, a sparring partner, as we discussed in previous weeks, in order to get you there. But where there is a will, there is a way. So therefore, what's in it for you is critical. And we can actually use the energy model to lead with energy and overcome those obstacles. But again, it's really important that you develop your awareness and your consciousness in terms of how you deal with the feedback and pushback that you get. So, but anyway, next week we'll talk a bit more about it. So for this moment, that's the content for today, for this week. So 5 actions to dig deeper. Now, of course, we can always continue talking about it, and you can find more on the 6 Week to Energy website, where there's more insights, where you can find also links to the articles, which, by the way, you can also find on LinkedIn. and on YouTube. And you can reach out to me in case you have any questions on digging deeper or any of the other three topics that we talked already before. Looking forward to hearing from you, of course. So maybe just take a pause for questions and answers if you have any. It's good to see you guys. Deepak and Arshad, nice to see you. And reach out to me after this session if you have any questions. For the moment, then I'll summarize this in a mail. Hey, Arshad.
Hi, Tom. Thank you once again. Nice to see you.
Nice.
Tom, I have a question regarding the energy model. I haven't had the time to attend all the sessions because it is currently working time in Germany. But I would like to ask you, can this energy model be applied to, is it a universal model? Can I say like that? Or is it only for professional development?
No, it's for any application, and it's a great question. So the energy model, and let me put it back on the page. Wait. I'll come back to that anyway each week. So the energy level model is a model that you can apply in any area of your life. I've allowed it myself in my personal life and my professional life because it is more a skill set, basically a lens through which to look at your life. So, like everybody, they look at their own life in a particular way, and the energy lens is, in my view, a very interesting one where you can look through these 7 levels and actually measure quantitatively what the energy level is for each of them. There's an assessment that can be undertaken. And then, for example, you're going to say, oh, at work, why I always feel angry all the time? And because, people trigger you or whatever it may be, and you feel that you're in this conflict mode, level 2. While in your personal life, let's say you're doing some sports and you feel like, oh wow, I really feel like spending time with my sports colleagues, and I really care that we do well as a team. So you're showing concern. You're also working. You're showing that you want to run hard for your teammates. So you're showing level 4. So every level in every aspect in your life can actually at the same time show a different level of energy. And becoming aware of that actually is a way as well to, on average, increase it. Does that respond to your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you want to know more, also on the website, you can find it. There's an energy level index assessment.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a test of about, I think it takes about 30 minutes. And you can get an assessment on the various levels of your life of where these energy levels are.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So that is quite an interesting way of looking at it. Also for organizations and companies, I often help them just as a quick team building exercise. It's a great way to do that. Thanks, Ashad.
Thank you.
All right. So, anybody still other questions? Otherwise, this video again will be shared on YouTube. Slides can also be made available. And for the moment, I'd like to thank you. And hopefully see you soon again next week, where we'll talk about, how can we get and overcome these obstacles in order to get to more energy. Hopefully see you again next week. For now, thanks very much. And have a great rest of your day or evening, wherever you are.
Thank you, and wish you the same, Tom. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.